Welcome to This Is How We Create, a show that digs deeper into the creative life of contemporary artists of color. Discover what feeds their creativity and how they found or are finding their artistic voice. Through these intimate and candid conversations, you'll gain insights into the lives of creative professionals of color that are hard to find anywhere else. Hey, welcome back to This Is How We Create. My name is Martine Severin, your host. On today's episode, we are talking about the creative floss. It's something that I'm calling the creative floss. Now, we talked about this on our newsletter, Creative Matters. So hop on over there. You could check out the information in the show notes. But before you've clicked away and think that, Martine, you've completely lost it, just wait a minute. So what I am calling the creative floss is something that you might use to transform your practice in terms of how you interact with your creative work. But first, let me set the scene for you. I am 22 years old and I am lying on my back at a dentist's chair. And I'm doing this for the very, very first time. We had the fluorescent lights that buzzed above me like angry wasps, and the hygienist was peering down at me, and her eyebrows, I swear to you, her eyebrows seemed to be going up into the air. Her expression, professional, but professional concern mixed with mild horror, I might add. And she turns to me and she said, "You've never done this before, have you?" Whew. Some things are really obvious because for her, what she was noticing was that my teeth, I had not had a cleaning in a long time. And that's because I grew up as an immigrant child and there were just other priorities than going to the dentist. I'm not hating though. I'm not hating on my mom. She was doing exactly what she could potentially do in raising kids, right? All by herself as a single parent. But what I have learned from this whole situation with the hygienist is one, take care of your teeth. Two, floss. And three, this leads us to this article, this mini episode on flossing and how it relates to creativity. If I got you still, hold on. Let me get to the specifics. So as I'm sitting in that dentist office, what followed was an hour and a half of her gently removing years of buildup. And that experience, surprisingly, taught me something that is profound about creativity. We often do the same thing, don't you think, with our creative practice? We allow buildup. However, instead of plaque, what we allow is endless consumption of other people's work. Be honest, how many times have you sat down to create something with genuine excitement only to decide that you need to quickly check Instagram for inspiration or maybe Pinterest, Behance, or somehow you end up watching TikToks about someone organizing art supplies by color temperature or something like that. And all of a sudden, 40 minutes has vanished and you've consumed other people's solution to problems similar to yours. What ends up happening is that your creative voice gets crowded out before it even has a chance to speak. And it's like trying to have a conversation at a concert, which is technically possible, but good luck with that. So if this sounds familiar, you are not alone. We are all navigating this challenge together. Going back to creative floss involves clearing the space between input, the things that we're consuming, and the authentic work that we want to emerge through us, through our creative life. Now, this influence, you might think that it's about rejecting influence or isolating yourself. Rather, creative floss is about honoring your own creative timing, and it's about really giving yourself room to breathe. Now, research in cognitive psychology suggests that constantly getting input creates what Stanford's Clifford Nass term attention residue, which means that our brain, it turns out, aren't designed for rapid creative consumption. But there's Dr. Marcus Reichel, whose work on the default mode network shows that our most creative insights often emerge during periods of Wait for it, mental rest. That's why you tend to come up with your great ideas while you're in the shower or while you're just not really paying attention to your creativity. So, how does this relate to you? Well, here are 3 moments when you might need some creative floss. First, when your work starts feeling like everyone else's, like you're all playing from the same playbook, which, let's be honest, we probably downloaded from the same Pinterest board. But second, when you're paralyzed by endless options and say you've saved images now and you can't decide which direction to go to. Or third, when you're stuck and you're refreshing design blogs, hoping the next beautiful project will spark a creative breakthrough. If you've experienced any of these things, well, my friend, you need a creative floss. What I want to share with you next is what I've learned through 4 years now, 4 years of interviewing creative professionals. First, inspiration rarely solves creative problems. Turns out space does and reflection does, and gentle persistence works all the time. And, sometimes we're hungry too, so don't forget a snack always helps. Now, let's turn our minds to how we might practice creative floss. One, start simple. So before diving into any project, you want to spend about 15 minutes exploring your own instinctive response to whatever creative challenge you're facing. Remember to honor whatever emerges, even if it feels rough or uncertain. Try this approach before consuming any creative content. Ask yourself 3 questions with kindness. Now, kindness always helps. Will this serve my current project? Will this expand my thinking in meaningful ways? And will this connect me to my community? If the answer is no to all of these 3 things, give yourself permission to stop ingesting content without guilt. But here's something that might sound a little radical. I want you to look at your past work first. Your own work, because you can actually discover how you've been quietly brilliant this whole time. And I know you're looking at your own work and sometimes it feels weird, but it's like listening to your own voicemail. You just kind of have to get comfortable hearing your voice back. Your most distinctive work will emerge not from getting more input, but from seeing things really differently. And seeing things differently requires space. Space between stimulus and response, space between input and output, and space between what everyone else is doing and what wants to emerge through you. Creative Floss creates that space with love. So this week, I invite you to try one small experiment. Pick one technique that feels slightly outside of your comfort zone, but totally doable. Maybe it's sitting and starting a project without researching and taking a break like 24 hours before you start researching. Maybe it's unfollowing accounts that really don't genuinely inspire you. Alternatively, it could be that you just start creating before checking any feeds or checking inspiration. But what you want to do is notice what creative ideas emerge when you create space for those ideas. And when you do that, I want you to notice what your voice sounds like, your creative voice, what it sounds like when it's not competing with everyone else's. But remember, taking time isn't necessarily about getting your work right or getting it right immediately. It's really about thinking about creating more of a loving relationship between your own creative process, one small space at a time. And your creative expression, it's there. It's been there all along. It's ready to emerge when you give it time and room to breathe. Creative floss, like dental floss, works best as a regular practice rather than an emergency intervention, as with me. So start small, stay consistent, watch what emerges from the space you create. And that's it. That's your assignment for the week, my friend. Give yourself the permission to create that space. Trust your voice, and above all, be tender with your magnificent self. That's it for now. Thank you for joining us on this mini episode of This Is How We Create. If you really like this episode, we actually have a downloadable worksheet that will help you in thinking about, how you want to approach. This worksheet is really not so much of a worksheet, but a quiz. Check it out. We'll have that information in the show notes for you. That's all I have for you. If you want to keep updated to what's going on with Creative Matters, remember new episodes come out on Tuesdays and on Thursdays. And if you need more information from us, we do have our really wonderful newsletter that's been going on a year strong. I can't believe it. A whole year of writing every week. I've done it. And we are continuing to go with the newsletter because why? People love it. Check it out. All the information is in the show notes. So thank you so much for listening. Have a good day. Hi there. I have a quick favor to ask you before you go. If you're loving the show, would you mind taking a quick second to leave us a 5-star review on your favorite go-to podcast app? Here's the thing. Those reviews are like magic fairy dust. They help other creatives of color discover our show and tap into their own artistic superpowers. While you're at it, why not subscribe to our Substack newsletter, Creative Matters? Creative Matters is like a weekly dose of inspiration delivered straight to your inbox. You can find the link to subscribe in the show notes. All right, that's all that I have for you today. I can't wait to see you on the next episode. Bye.